All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to my NFL Picks segment. Welcome to week 10 of the NFL season. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll tell you one thing. Last week, I was riding high, and I missed the Thursday night game, but all the early games, including the Chiefs and Dolphins game, all the noon o'clock games, the noon games, I was perfect on all of them, except the Thursday night game. So I was riding high. I was like, this is going to be a great win. And then I only got one more game right, and that was a Chargers game. I missed the entire third window of games, including the Sunday night game, which I'm never picking the Bills to win again, ever, until probably this week against the Broncos. But at least I'm never picking them to beat the Bengals again. I'm done with that. Joe Burrow he's light years ahead of Josh Allen as a quarterback. And the funny thing is that Josh Allen and the Bills, their offensive numbers are really good this year, and their defensive numbers are good. So why are they 5-4? It makes no sense to me. The Bills are toast. So, all right. So ready for week number 10. Last week, not a good week for me. I was 9 out of 14. Missed. Was I 9-5? Yeah, 9-5. So not a great percentage, 64%, and then I was 50% against the spread. So picking games, I picked 9 of the 14 correctly, but I only got half of them right against the spread. So I've trailed off. I had a good week 8, week 9, not as good. All right, we're gonna rebound. Week 10, we're shooting for 75% and above. We're gonna get that average back up there. Get that momentum back that we started off with. Okay, first of all, why this is a primetime game on Thursday night, the Panthers at the Bears. What an absolute dog of a game. The Bears are 3-point favorites. The Panthers have shown no ability. Bryce Young looks like a complete bust. Now, I'm not going to say, 10 games into his season or into his professional career that he's a bust. But he has looked really, really poor. Now, part of that is he's on a very bad football team. The Chicago Bears with Tyson Bagent, he's no good either. Division II quarterback from Shepherd College. Look, this is an absolute horrendous game. It's opened up at 38. It's a 38 and a half right now on the over-under. I'm actually surprised it's that high. So both of these teams are bad. The Bears actually fare a little better against the spread than the Panthers do. I don't know a ton about these teams. I just know they're both really, really bad. But when bad teams play each other, I usually get the benefit of the home team. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears to win this game. But I'm going to pick them to... I'm going to pick the Bears to win. Whoops. That's not the right thing. I'm going to pick the Bears to win, but I am going to go with the Panthers to cover. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Bears win by a field goal, which they need to win by 4 points to cover that 3-point spread. So I do think the Panthers are going to keep this close, and it's going to be a field goal game or less for the Bears will win. Colts going against the Patriots. The Colts on the roads. The Patriots are home dogs. The Patriots are a bad football team. They are just as bad as the Bears and the Panthers. The Indianapolis Colts are hit and miss. Gardner Minshew he's a serviceable backup quarterback. He's not going to embarrass you, but he's not going to win you a ton of games either. The Colts are kind of on that precipice of being a team that thinks that they have an outside shot to make the playoffs. The problem is the AFC is so stacked this year, and the Colts, I suppose it is possible that they could sneak in if they go on a hot stretch here. But while they do have a good running attack, a two-headed approach there with I just forgot their running backs' names. Oh my gosh, this is what happens when I try to think of things on the fly. Regardless, was it Zach Moss? Zach Moss and the guy that held out. Oh my gosh, he's the number one back. He's the guy that is like one of the best running backs in the league, and I can't remember his name. I don't play fantasy football anymore, so sometimes I don't know some of these guys' names. But we look at the money line. Money line's very close here. Patriots are the underdog here, but you're not winning anything. It's just a 1-to-1 bet. So this is a fairly close. This is a fairly close game. It opened up at 1. It's at 1.5 now. I think they're trying to get people to maybe put some money on the Colts here. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Colts to win. And that line's not a big line to cover. So I'm going to pick the Colts to win and cover the 1.5. Houston and Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is a full 7-point touchdown favorite. Before we get too many further, I am going to go with the Bengals to win this game. I don't think the Texans are quite ready for this. I am going to be pulling for them to win. The question is that are they going to cover the 7 points or not? The Bengals obviously are one of the hottest teams in football right now, and this is going to be a sneaky good game. And the thing is that if the Texans actually can manage to pull off the upset here, both these teams are 5-4, and that gives the Bengals a 4th loss in the AFC. And suddenly despite how well they've played over the past 4 weeks, they would suddenly be staring at 5-4 with tie-breaking losses to 4 different AFC teams now. But I do think the Bengals are going to get this done. I don't see them losing this game at home, especially coming off a big win on it's on Sunday Night Football against the Bills at home. Seems like the Bengals always play every game at home. I don't know why that is. The question is that do they cover the 7 points or not? I do think the Texans are going to be in this game, but I see the Bengals probably putting this game away. Maybe it's a 3 or 6 point lead, and the Bengals get a late touchdown and kind of put a little bit of distance there and hold them off at the end. So I'm going to pick the Bengals to cover the 7 points. Almost not so much like you can't say a backdoor cover with a team that's winning, but in a similar fashion, I think the Bengals will cover the 7 points with a late score. Saints and Vikings. The Saints are a bad football team. Despite their 5-4 record and the fact that no one is running away with the NFC South, the Vikings are there. When you look at their numbers for projections to make the playoffs, the Vikings have a 70% chance now to make the playoffs with their 4-game winning streak here. The Vikings, surprisingly enough, are home dogs, and I'm not buying this. I don't see what. Now the Saints have a dynamic offense if they run it well, but Minnesota, I think they're, especially with the way that the game played out last week with Josh Dobbs coming in. He'd been on the team for like 4 days. He wasn't even supposed to play, but the guy that they started, which I can't remember his name. The guy who they started got a concussion. They have announced Josh Dobbs is going to play this week. I'm taking the Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings to win this game straight up. I think they're going to. This is not an upset. I think the Vikings should be favored in this game. The Vikings are playing much better football than the Saints are right now, and Minnesota. I said after they beat the 49ers. I said it wouldn't surprise me if they get to 9-5 or 10-4 after Week 15. They're well on their way with that. This is definitely a winnable game for the Vikings. Vegas is Vegas for a reason, and they set the lines, and so this is kind of close to a pick-em. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Vikings win outright. Packers on the road taking on the Steelers. Both of these teams have, in my opinion, have underperformed this year. The Steelers, just with their really, really poor offense, their 3 quarters. But it seems like when Matt Canada gets out of the way, I've said this like every video for the past 3 weeks. Every time Matt Canada gets out of the way and lets, I almost said Mitch Trubisky. Oh my gosh, Kenny Pickett. He lets Kenny Pickett just play. Kenny Pickett's numbers in the 4th quarter are fantastic. The problem is that he plays really poorly in the first 3 quarters, because he's got the Matt Canada training wheels on. So it's going to be a matter of do they see what the real issue is here, that Matt Canada is holding this team back on the offensive side. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's a terrific coach, terrific defensive coach. The Packers, I think we're seeing in the last moments of the Jordan Love era. I think he has proven this year that he is not a top-flight NFL starting quarterback. The Packers have some issues. I don't see the Packers going on the road and getting a win like this. I think the Steelers win. the funny thing is, the Steelers have been outgained in every single one of their games, but they managed to be they're 5-3, largely in part to their defense and special teams. So I think that continues this week. I picked the Packers in the preseason to go like 12-5 or 13-4. Obviously, I was way off there. I completely overestimated Jordan Love's progression. I am going to get the Steelers to win here, and I'm going to have them go ahead and cover the points. I think it's going to be a close game, but it's going to be within a touchdown. But I do see them winning like 20, like 21-13, 21-16, something like that. Tennessee going on the road to take on Tampa. Now, Tennessee has announced the rest of the year Will Levis is going to be starting. Tampa has been very disappointing. After their hot start, they've really struggled down the stretch. I really like Mike Vrabel as the head coach. Mike Vrabel is a tremendous coach. He understands the game. Not a big fan of what they're doing down in Tampa. Tennessee is on the precipice of falling out of the playoff race in the AFC. They already have 5 losses, but I do think that they're going to rally around. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, it seems like he's been rejuvenated and reborn since Will Levis has been the quarterback there. Now, they had a tough loss last week on Thursday night. Definitely could have won that game, but they fell short at the end. I am going to pick the Titans to win here. I'm going to pick them they're a road dog, but I am going to pick them to win outright on the road in Tampa. Just not a big believer in Tampa. 49ers and the Jaguars. So Niners, 3-point favorites on the road, which is very surprising to me. The Niners have underperformed this year. They have kept games closer than what you would expect. Brock Purdy has really been, I don't want to say maybe exposed or something like that, but he's definitely fallen back to earth from his meteoric rise over the first 12 games of his career. Jacksonville is not as good as some people make them out, like Nick Wright makes them out to be. Now, they are very, very good. I don't think they're excellent, even though they're 6-2 and they're also 6-2 against the spread. That being said, I think Jacksonville is getting, I think this is a little insulting to me here, because the 49ers, they're still dealing with some injuries. Now, I do believe Trent Williams is supposed to be back this week. And, if he's back and playing on that left side, he gives Brock Purdy more time to throw the ball. Brock Purdy he's a serviceable game manager quarterback. The thing is that Trevor Lawrence he's kind of the same thing. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. I mean, even though some people make him out to be like that way, like I said, my buddy Nick Wright. But he's very good. But I still think he's not as high on the quarterback. Like if you look at quarterback tier list, the Mahomes Mountain that Nick does, the Prince is way too high in my opinion. And I do think he should be brought back down. I think Jacksonville they have just a good all around team. Like I said, they have a good, not great quarterback. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. They have a good offense. They have a really good running attack. And they have a solid defense. And they have a Super Bowl winning head coach. All those things considered, look, I can't pick the 49ers to win this game. This is a game at home. I think Jacksonville is going to come out and play very well. I think they're going to move to 7-2 and get tied for the Chiefs at the top of the AFC. So give me Jacksonville in the upset. Cleveland taking on Baltimore. Now this game is going to be interesting. This is going to be a defensive struggle in my opinion. So there's a lot of people picking the Ravens right now. The Browns have a great defense, maybe the best defense in the NFL, or second best. I think you have the Browns, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, the top 3 defenses, not only in the AFC but in the NFL. I think they're better than anything on the NFC side. What do the Ravens like to do? The Ravens like to run the football, and they like to. A lot of people are saying that Lamar Jackson is the MVP front runner right now. I don't see that per se. I mean, he's got 9 touchdown passes through 9 games. His numbers are good. They're not great. I mean, they're solid. They're solid numbers. But just because they're winning right now and they're hot, I don't know why that equates to MVP frontrunner. And if you look at the Vegas numbers, he's not. Patrick Mahomes is still the MVP frontrunner. And besides, the Baltimore they have 2 really bad losses this year too. Now Cleveland sometimes just can't score. That being said, I think what Cleveland does on defense counters what Baltimore does on offense. And the 6-point number here, I am definitely going with the Browns to cover that. Now, not if they win, obviously they win outright, and if they lose, I think that it'll be by 6 or less. Now the thing is here is I need to figure out who wins this game. Do the Browns win or do the Ravens win? I don't think this is going to... 6 points, that's a lot of points to lay for a team with as good as defense as the Browns. Obviously, the Ravens really, really playing well. And what gives the Ravens an edge here is that they have been blowing out opponents recently, and pretty good opponents at that. You could say what you want about the Seattle Seahawks, but Seattle's still a solid team, and they took them behind the woodshed. Could be matchup problems. You know, they did the same thing to the Detroit Lions, which I think the Lions are a little overrated in my opinion as well, even though they're good against the spread as well. I think they're against the spread numbers the same as their rec. I think they're 6-2, if I remember right. It's right here on the. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, so like I said, the Ravens have they have 2 bad losses, but they have some of the better wins of any team in the league this year. I'm going to go ahead and go with the. I really want to pick the Browns in this game, not just because I'm a Chiefs fan and I want the Ravens to lose, but I see a path for Cleveland to win here, and I think it's better than this, 3 out of 10 chance that the FPI index is giving them. I think it's a lot closer. Now the money line that's a big spread on the money line. And here's another interesting factor. It opened at 4.5 and has moved to 6. And I think that's just begging people to put money on the Browns. So maybe Vegas knows something that we don't. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Ravens to win. That change in that line there is what's doing it for me. I'm taking the Browns and the points, but I am picking the Ravens to win. Falcons and the Cardinals. This is a game I don't care about. I'm going to go ahead and just say the Falcons are going to get this win, and they're going to cover the 2 points. Next game. Gosh, Lord. Lions and Chargers. This is Chargers are at home, which means that they're really on the road because they never have a true home field advantage. Lions 3-point favorites on the road, 6-2 overall, 6-2 against the spread. Chargers also 4-4 on both sides. Chargers have looked better since getting dog walked by the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. Los Angeles Chargers. I think that Brandon Staley, I think he knows that this is probably his time. And I think with what the Chargers present on offense, I think they're going to present some issues for the Lions. The Lions are a solid football team all the way around. They don't have a ton of weaknesses, but I think that especially with the way that they got kind of exposed against Baltimore kind of laid out the blueprint, and even some of the good ones they've had, like when they beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs kind of beat themselves in that game. The Lions got a defensive touchdown and only scored 14 points on offense in that game. The Lions are a good team that knows how to win. I think it's one more year. I think they could be really good. Even a better team next year. Still not a huge believer in Jared Goff. Excuse me, I had to get the drink there. I think I'm going to go ahead and... it seems like I'm picking a lot of underdogs again this week. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Lions to win and to cover the 3 points. I do think that they get back on track this week, and I think the Chargers get knocked down a little bit, and kind of their a loss here would really be damaging for the Chargers' playoff hopes. Now for the embarrassing part of my take here. Last week I said my guaranteed was the Giants were going to beat the Raiders because of all the turmoil the Raiders were going through, and the Raiders went out and absolutely dominated the Giants because the Giants are a bad football team, and now they've lost their bad quarterback. Look at the money line here. You have to put $1,400 down on the Cowboys to win $100. And if you put $100 down on the Giants, you win $800. Folks, I have never seen a 16.5 point line in the NFL. That might be a record. Matter of fact, this whole time, this entire freaking time, I have had this camera on my face as opposed to, what am I doing? I'm a terrible YouTuber. Anyway, everything I said still holds true. If you want to see the pics and everything, I'll see if I can. Oh my gosh, I'll see if I can figure a way to add that in or put an overlay on the screen. I don't know how to do that. My gosh, now I'm demoralized. I looked over here at OBS because I was like, I'm going to open up a window here, and I was like, why is my face on the entire screen? It's because I forgot to switch it over on OBS. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Largest point spread in NFL history. Scam likely. Yes, I get a lot of scam likelies. Going into the game, the 2013 Broncos were averaging 46 points in the franchise. 28 point spread, the biggest in football history. Okay, so so there's been a lot of games in the 20s. Okay, so I don't remember this game, the Chiefs and the Jets. Anyway, well, okay, so obviously not unprecedented, but it's definitely a huge, huge number. 16.5 points. We're definitely picking the Cowboys to win. Now we just have to figure out, do the Cowboys win by 17 points? They have to win by 17 to cover that number. This is why you don't bet games like this. This is a trap. Look at that. It opened at 10 points. It opened at 10 points. And I bet you they got so much money on the Cowboys, they had to move it to 16 and a half just to get some people to consider putting money on the Giants. I have no idea who the Giants quarterback's going to be. Everyone's injured. Everybody is injured. I guess that they're going to... did they pick somebody up this week? Let's go back and look. Giants undrafted rookie DeVito to start versus Dallas. Oh my gosh. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath for the Giants. But then the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals this year, back in week 2. So how can you predict any of this stuff? I'm... if the Cowboys score 35 points, let's just say that the Cowboys, if they score 28 points, the Giants have to just score 12. So a touchdown and 2 field goals will get them to 13. I'm spending way too much time thinking about this bad football team. They lost by over 20 to the Raiders. Cowboys will cover the 16.5. Commanders taking on the Seahawks in Seattle. I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle to rebound after a tough loss. But I am going to pick the Commanders to cover the 6.5 points. Even though 6.5 is begging you to put money on Seattle to win by a touchdown. And then Sunday Night Football, the Jets and the Raiders. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Raiders to win. The Jets are it's basically a pick 'em. But I am going to pick the Raiders to win this game against the Jets. I'm just not a believer in the Jets. Just can't do it. And then the Bills going on at home against the Broncos. I am going to pick the Bills to win this. Well, you know what? Screw it. I have picked the Bills so many times and they have disappointed me. I'm going with the Broncos. Upset. Upset alert. You heard it right here. The Kevin Wildes upset alert. I am going with the Denver Broncos to upset the Bills and to finally put them out of their misery. This will close the door on their playoff chances. Broncos with the upset on Monday Night Football. So there you have it, guys. Again, I apologize for not having the screen set so you could see what I was putting here on the screen. But okay, you can still go back and you can listen to what I said. Bears, I got the Bears beating the Panthers. Colts over the Patriots. Bengals over the Texans. Vikings over the Saints. Steelers over the Packers. Titans over the Bucks. Jags over the Niners. Ravens over the Browns. Falcons over the Cardinals. Lions over the Chargers. Cowboys over the Giants. Seahawks over the Commanders. Raiders over Jets. And I'm taking the upset, the Broncos over the Buffalo Bills. There you've got it. Those are my picks for the week. If you like these picks, if you don't like them, hey, make a comment down below. No one comments so far on these videos except maybe 1 or 2 people. There are some people watching these videos. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for more content, and I will see you later. Have a great day.